Hey guys, it's me, EODGamer here, and today we're going to be doing a weapon comparison video. I'm going to be testing out I Shall Be My Own Sword on Jingliu versus, of course, the free-to-play On the Fall of an Aeon, the Herta Lightcone from the shop. And I'm going to be testing two others. One of them is a limited 5-star in case any of you are thinking of slapping Blades 1 on it, the Unreachable Side. And of course, A Secret Vow, which is a very strong 4-star Lightcone. Now, if you're interested, do stick around all the way to the end. I know not all of you have all 4 of these Lightcones, so feel free to just check on the portion of the video I put in the timestamps, the one that you're more interested in as well. Of course, we'll start things off first with the Unreachable or this I Shall Be My Own Sword. To make my life a bit easier, I'm going to actually switch away from my crit damage body, and I'm going to be switching over to a crit rate body here, just so that I have a bit more consistency. I don't have to refilm, but this is not the ratio I normally run. It's the one that we saw previously. So now let's get into it. I'm having 3 characters here so that I can proc the signatures effect much better, and let's take a look at some numbers. Okay, one thing we have to know is Jingliu moves very fast, so I want to slow it down a little bit. I'm going to just push her up, and we're going to do the same thing like for all the tests as well. Because her out and later on you will see, it's very difficult to observe the numbers if it's too fast. So the normal mode definitely won't crit because it doesn't have the crit rate buff. I only have like 40%. And now in her out state, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use out first and take a close look at the numbers. It's going to be pretty fast. Jingliu is generally quite quick. So about 39k, 40k on the main body, the main boss itself. I'm gonna just go and press E real quick. So the final strike is at 14k. So now next up, what I'm gonna be testing is, of course, we're gonna just very simply just switch from I Shall Be My Own Sword over to the On the Fall of an Aeon. This one, we have to make sure we get the max stacks. Is whenever the warrior attack is increased by 16%, this battle up to 4 times. So that we want to make sure there's the 4 full stacks before we actually do a bit of the test. And of course, when there's a weakness break on enemies, whereas damage increased by 24%, we will try our best to proc all of that. But now let's get into it. Okay, and same thing, what we're going to do is just going to push up her real quick. So buff her up, and we're just going to do the same trick. She enters the state. Now she has 1 stack of the On the Fall of an Aeon, so this is 1 stack here, because it stacks up to 4 times for On the Fall of an Aeon. She's in her special state, and I'm going to go ahead and press ultimate, same as before. Previously, I think it was like 40k, thereabouts. Observe this monster that will appear roughly around here to see the difference. Okay, so it's about 30k versus 40k. That's about 33% weaker than the signature Lightcone, but of course this is at its worst. Now we have 2 stacks here, and I'm going to press E just to see the amount of damage. Okay, about 11k. Just now was like 14k plus on the last strike. I think it was like 15k or something. So it seems in line so far. Now she has 3 stacks. This shows, of course, that she doesn't really scale as well with attack percentage. But more importantly, what we want to know is the damage increase once she gets that 24% for On the Fall of an Aeon. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to keep smacking this guy. As you can see, it's quite difficult to actually proc the On the Fall of an Aeon's full effect. I have to actually try hard to actually make it happen. So let me just fast forward real quick so we can get it up. Buff her up again. So this one, of course, is a buff state. It will not be apple to apple comparison. Okay, so now that she has the full stack here of the damage boost plus the max 4%, and Bronya's buff has wore off and she still is in her crit state. So I'm just going to fast forward real quick so that we can get back to Jingliu's turn. Okay, I'll slow it down, and now we will press E real quick and see what is the damage at the end. It was previously about 15k. So I think it's about the same. If it manages to hit the max stacks, it's actually the same. Okay, there was some interesting numbers. Based on what we see, if we compare like the final strike 14k and like roughly 14k as well, it shows that at like max stacks On the Fall of an Aeon with this 64% full effect and this 24% damage increase, this actually can rival her signature Lightcone, I Shall Be My Own Sword. A huge caveat though is that we didn't have any buffs on her other than her own buffs. We didn't even use like Bronya's buff, we didn't even use like Tingyun or anything. So attack percentage has diminishing return. That's why the immediate ones that we see from here, this 64%, is quite massive, especially since I have very low base attack. That is something worth considering too. So apart from this, I think that definitely I Shall Be My Own Sword here is definitely much better. 33% compared to this at its best. that is a very significant upgrade already, and it doesn't even factor in a lot of other things. For example, you have like attack buffers on your team, you have action advances. This is also very consistent throughout the course of battle, whereas this one, as we saw, is very tedious to try to proc the full effect to make sure that you can get this weakness breaking, which means that most of the time you'll only be left with attack percentage, which is very easily found elsewhere. But of course, it's a signature Lightcone. We kind of expected this. I think it's interesting to note. Now let's go on to the next test, which is I think going to be also very interesting, will be to see A Secret Vow. We're going to be testing it straight away at this 80% threshold because we want to know whether a 4-star can beat out a signature Lightcone given that she scales off with base attack. So what I'm going to be doing is feeding her some trash so that she can get down to a lower life threshold so that we are able to do the testing as well. Let me just resin refresh real quick. And like and subscribe if you appreciate my sacrifice for burning energy or premium currency to do this test for us. It's been quite a number of tries already because I'm trying to get a good film going. So we're going to do exact same thing. What I'm going to do is push her up again. Same as before. I'm just going to smack real quick. So she enters her enhanced state now. So for those of you who are not sure, Secret Vow here, and the effect is if the enemy's HP is more than my HP, I get the full 80% damage bonus. We want to know whether the 4-star Lightcone stats actually are a lot inferior. So same thing, I'm going to use the burst. We saw with her signature Lightcone, it was something like 40k. With the free-to-play Herta shop Lightcone, it's like 30k. So that's a good comparison. So actually very significant. It's a 38k, only slightly weaker than her signature Lightcone with A Secret Vow. I think that already shows us like the max value 80% difference is going to make. Now for the sake of this video, I'm just going to press E also. So also around 40k, and this 80% damage bonus that we see here is really very close to her signature Lightcone. What that means is her, of course this is the caveat that you have to have her at very low life. Enemy has to have lower life, you must be lower life than the enemy, and that is when she can actually rival. But for the most part, the difference is going to be half. Let me just back off real quick and come into the match again so we can see exactly what it usually will be, and we know it's going to be roughly in between. So now I'm just going to go ahead and heal her up real quick. Let's just find something. So now the enemy's life is lower than 100%, so she'll only get 40% of the damage buff from A Secret Vow. And this is the test, of course, with only half its effect. So same thing, I'm going to just press its ultimate to see what is the difference. Again, 40k was I Shall Be My Own Sword, 30k is the Herta shop Lightcone. So it roughly is around the same as the Herta shop Lightcone without any much buffs, but significantly weaker than her signature Lightcone by roughly around 30% weaker. And I think, okay, let's just finish this off with like E, and then we can wrap it up and go to the next one. Of course, they had it not crit, but we got the information that we want. I won't try to do it anymore. There's like a blooper, my life of testing. But anyway, I think that's a pretty good showing. It shows that A Secret Vow is definitely significantly weaker than I Shall Be My Own Sword. Even at max stacks, it rivals it, but it's not going to be easy to maintain this all the time. And this, of course, is a 4-star Lightcone. If you have higher HP teammates, my teammates now are not very high HP, so they don't exactly give her a lot. For example, like 5k here, 3k here, 4k. If we have more HP teammates, they might actually give her a lot more value because here, the talent ability scales off with the amount of HP that you set from your teammates. That's something we haven't factored in to, of course, A Secret Vow's advantage here. But what's more interesting, on the fall of an Aeon versus A Secret Vow actually is quite competitive to the on fall of an Aeon, even just with the first proc. Because as we can see, 32% damage increase for the first proc compared to the on the fall of an Aeon here, even with the first, with this like one stack here, it's already like 29k, this one was like 32k. At its best, of course, this one could go up, but then this is also quite simple to proc, especially if you're playing her with a character like Nickss maybe. If she's drawing the aggro, she's always playing at low life, you could possibly get quite good value from A Secret Vow. And I think I actually quite like this Lightcone a lot now that I actually see and test the numbers as well. So we've done a lot of like free-to-play stuff already that most people will be able to achieve if you play long enough. Like Secret Vow is definitely possible. What I'm more interested in is we want to have a bit more versatile Lightcones. What if I test a Unreachable Side now and see how good Unreachable Side is, because this, to be honest, is a pretty flexible Lightcone, and I want to see whether it's very, very useful for her as well. So of course, the difficult part about this is it has 18% crit rate, whereas her signature Lightcone here, I Shall Be My Own Sword, has 20% crit rate in the substats. What this means is, in order for this and this to be comparable, this has to be converted to crit value, which is roughly around, how many is that, 36% crit damage, and so I need 36% crit damage more. Okay, and in order to get that 36%, I'm going to be doing, switching out a bit of relics. So remember the one that we changed previously, this crit rate one, 23 here, we're going to switch to this, so that is 41, roughly thereabouts, 5% over the limit, and what I'm going to be doing is changing these gloves here from 11.6, and I'm going to drop it down to 5.8. So this is how we maintain we get the 36% crit damage increase, which factors in for this first part. This is quite easy to proc. It just increases crit rate, increases max HP, and when the wearer is attacked or consumes their own HP, damage is increased by 24%. This is pretty easy to proc as long as the enemies go and hit, for example, Jingliu. Okay, and this is going to be the final test for Jingliu. We're going to test the Unreachable Side Blade Signature Lightcone on her. Hopefully she gets attacked so that we can proc this effect as well. But if not, we will just see the crit value and the difference it makes first. Let's go and do the exact same thing. Bump her up. I'm going to press E. She enters her enhanced state. And we're going to just press the out, same thing as normal. So previously, it was like 40k. This one is going to be, who knows what it is. But the reason why it might be higher than most 4 stars is because it's a 5-star Lightcone with higher base stats. 11k previously was like 14k or 15k for her signature Lightcone, so it is quite significantly lower. So I think definitely Unreachable Side is not as good for her. Even the other Lightcones are much better, but I want to see her get hit so she can able to proc the effect of that additional damage bonus. So I'm just going to fast forward real quick until they actually hit me. Okay, nice. So she managed to get hit. Now I'm just going to speed up, go to a turn. So as you can see, she has procced the effect of the damage boost here, 24%, and let's just see the numbers. What we're looking at previously was about 14 to 15k for E. Let's see what it is now. So I'll say with the if you can get the uptime on her getting hit, it does come quite close to the ultimate ability. Okay, so we saw some numbers. Definitely the Unreachable Side, without this final effect being proc, definitely the other Lightcones, like for example, on the 4 of Aeon is competitive. You have a 4-star Secret Vow that is even better than this one. But of course, if you manage to proc this 24%, if you get aggro enough, she does do a decent amount of damage with this Lightcone as well. We can see it's like only slightly weaker than this one, I Shall Be My Own Sword. This is universal because it doesn't require her to be hit, meaning it's more versatile. But this one could also be possibly used, especially if you run her with a standard comp, for example, like a character like Nickss, and you can keep up the uptime on this burst, on this damage 24%. That is like the main like criteria, but still is slightly inferior to I Shall Be My Own Sword. That aside, what are my thoughts on all 4 of them? And that's like a quick summary. I think definitely I Shall Be My Own Sword is very, very versatile for her, her as a character, because she can play into whatever team she wants. It's very, very standard. It's like consistent damage, doesn't really care about ups and downs. Secret Vow has to play around with how low her HP is in order to get a lot of value. At base, it's okay, not too bad. On the 4 of Aeon, a lot of us will have this is a pretty good start already, and as we can see, it's only 33% at worst inferior to I Shall Be My Own Sword based on the testing that we have seen. There's a lot of caveats as mentioned in the earlier segments already, and it could even be more, but still quite a respectable showing. And the Unreachable Side is definitely also good, but we need to make sure this is kept up in order to compete. Overall, do I think that you need this signature Lightcone? I think on the 4 of Aeon is good enough as a free-to-play option, and the one that is interesting to consider is A Secret Vow. And yeah, so that's my Jingliu weapon testing video. If you appreciate such content, do leave me a like, subscribe for more of such future videos, and do check out these other videos where I've done an honest review on this character as well as team compositions for her too. And thank you so much for watching. See you in the next video.